Well, hey everybody, I'm Palm Tree Life. Good to have you back for this next episode where we're going to talk about the map, marriage, my kingdom, and me. And so we really want to set you up to be successful throughout, at least throughout the first play character you have. Beyond that, it gets interesting, but we want to make sure that we're set up to make our run as the King of Ghana to the best of our ability. So let's talk through just the basic map modes down here in the bottom right corner. So you can see you got the date here starting off January 1st, 867. You got your map or your game speed. We're going to do speed 3 pretty regularly. We'll jump up to get through some sieges and stuff. We'll go faster. But right here in the map mode, so this is the current one. It's the political map. So this is exactly how everything is owned right now. So this is the political nature. Who owns what? It's all broken down into that in this map mode of the realms, which is key to knowing who owns what. And like if you're going to attack something, like who are you attacking and how much do they own and what are they a ruler over? And it's really easy to see that. You can see that we are the big boy in West Africa pretty much, and everybody else is much smaller than us. It doesn't mean that they're not wealthy. It doesn't mean they don't have good units. They're just not as big as us currently. Then you can switch over. These three right here just show you the de jure titles. So it shows you what actually belongs to, in this case, the duchies. So these are the different duchies around West Africa, and frankly, if you go the world, these are all the duchies. So if you're over those, you're a duke. And so we have several, as you click on ours, we have several different dukes. They are the ruler of specific duchies. Then you can switch over from duchy. You can also see kingdom titles. So this is the de jure title. Everything that naturally belongs to the Kingdom of Ghana. Everything that naturally belongs to the Kingdom of Mali or Jenne. You can see this blue line shows that we own some of the Kingdom of Mali right now. All right, you can see how it expands there. It even expands down into Jenne a little bit. So, and then you got the empire. So if we were going to create our own empire, we would have to own most of this area. And you can see with our blue lines here, you can see we own a lot of it. Like we already are the ruler of much of it, but you would have to conquer or be over much of it to be able to. In fact, I think we have 24 counties right now. You would have to have 61 and pay 500 ducats and own 2 kingdom titles to create that title of the Empire of Mali. And we'll see if we can do that as we play. Sometimes you can in one lifetime in West Africa, and sometimes you can't. It just kind of depends on how fast you can go with everything. So you've got the empire. You also can break it down into counties. So these are the different counties. So when you look at a duchy, Ouagadougou right here, Ouagadougou can be broken down into counties, which is Walata, Massine, and Akwar. And then you can even see the baronies in each one of these. Now, the barony, as you're a tribal environment, you might be able to hear that in the background. But as you're a tribal ruler, these baronies aren't going to matter much because you only hold the tribal hold. You can't do anything in these. But as you move to feudal, you're going to be able to put cities and temples and other castle holdings in these areas. And so having a number of them is very important. So I'll even show you up here. One of my favorite places to play is up here you can see Bohemia, right? It's the Duchy of Bohemia, the Kingdom of Bohemia. But if you go into the counties, so you can see Praha, which is the capital. They have a city here, and they have a temple holding because they're already feudal. And so as you're in feudal, and as you keep progressing in the game, they'll be able to put other cities and temples and castle holdings out here, which gives you the ability to build different buildings, get more money, get more prestige, get more piety, have more levies and troops. There's all kinds of benefits to having that. And so you can see down here for us, Let's get back over there. We can do the same thing. So you have 5 here. So it is really important within that map mode. Then you've got faith. So we are the Bedaic faith. All right. And so these are the holy sites. We'll talk about that in just a second. But this is the different faiths. And then these icons show you where the holy sites are for each faith. All right. So there's the Singuic, the Akam, Bori. You can see their holy sites. Okay. And then you've got cultures. So we're the Soninke culture. Houses. We're the Palm Tree Life dynasty. But you can see there's different houses. So while your realm may only be this, you may have more. So like the Carling there, their house is basically the Holy Roman Empire, whereas right now, if you look, they're individual titles, but their house owns the whole thing. Okay, so that's the difference there. And then you've got the basics of government types. We're heavily tribal down here in Africa. You've got development, which is key. Development shows you, so we have a development of 10. Development shows you how big your cities are. So it gives you more levies, it gives you more money because there's more people, so you get higher taxes or a higher tax amount. You get more levies because there's more people, so you get a higher levy percentage, those types of things. So development is very important. And then you got terrain. Terrain's important as well because when you're fighting, if you're not good on a specific terrain, as we'll see, our culture has a really good unit, but they're not very good in hills. And so we have a lot of hills down here. So when we go to conquer those areas, you just have to be mindful that you may not be as good in that terrain. And then, yeah, we covered governments and we covered all that. So that's the map. That's kind of the map modes that you can use, and it's important to use all of those. Now, I did want to show one thing. As you're developing, you can see here, in the holding, you can construct different buildings, okay? So you're going to want to do that. This gives you all the basic stuff of how far you're developed, if you're in control of it, what culture, what faith. So you can come down here, and even you'll see in Bambouk, their culture is different. Sometimes that's a minor penalty, sometimes it's a major one. You just have to keep an eye on it. It's just different than our culture, but it's still within our realm. And then as you're building, if you're the capital of a duchy, you get this special building slot. It doesn't matter as much when you're a tribal, but as you move to feudal, you'll be able to build special buildings in these. And then this one is a special building. It will give a specific special building. It just depends. It could be a university. It could be something on a religious level, like a temple. It could be a gold mine. So like here in Bambouk, let's click the right one. Here you can construct a new special building, and you can construct the gold mines of Mali, and it will give you 5 tax a month. So you can see that's 2 more than we're even currently getting. So it's very important to own some of those and be over some of those. So as we progress in the game, you're going to see us probably head more down into this development area where it's just a wealthier area and a richer area. Into Mali, we'll probably switch our capital to there at some point later on in the game, and you'll get to learn how to do that. Now let's move on to marriage. Marriage is important. So you can get there. You got this notification when you first come into the game as you are not married, so you can click on that, and it'll take you to a place to find your spouse. You can also always click on any face of any character. So anytime you click on a character, it'll bring up this little side slot. So you can even see here, no matter where you click on it, it'll bring them up over here. So you can click on your person, it'll bring you up. Or if you want to, you can right click and just choose find spouse. So however you want to get there, there's lots of ways to get there. But we want to get married because it is very important to have children, because this is all about providing heirs and building a dynasty and a house name, not so much about developing a country or a nation or painting the map with your nation. So that's important to remember. So the first option here is matrilineal. If you choose matrilineal, it means it's going to go through the female line, the matriarchal line. So if, for example, if you start off with a player character that is a female, you probably want to choose this because you want it going through your house, not your spouse's house. I chose to start off as a male, and so as a result, I'm not going to choose this because I want our lineage to go down through my line. And then you have different options here. So you can sort by anything. You can, if you want to have a strong alliance at the beginning, you can sort by what the strongest alliances are. You can sort by how much prestige you'll gain if you marry that person. You can sort by the sum of all skills, which is what can be helpful. What I would say is if you're going to sort by sum of all skills, one thing you need to remember is they're not just adding these 5 areas up, they're also adding their prowess. So you can see she's a 28 in prowess, and so it greatly increases her. It doesn't mean that she's necessarily better in these 5 areas. So you do have to pay attention to that. You may find someone that you really like that wouldn't necessarily, they would just have a low prowess, so it doesn't necessarily put them in the top 4 or 5 people if you're going to sort that way. You can also do a filter. So we know, remember, I'm a giant. I chose to be a giant, so that's a trait that I have that I can pass down to my children. So if you want to see, hey, are there any other giants that are females where that trait will automatically get passed down? There are. And so you have to check their ages, because the older you are, the less likely you are to have children. So you can see here, even maybe we have a medium chance of children, medium. Okay, what house will it be? Palm Tree Life. So we have a medium chance. You can also, so if you don't necessarily want to sort by giant, if you're looking for a specific trait, you can just type it in here. It'll show you if there's anybody that's within your diplomatic range that has that trait. Or you can just do inheritable traits right here. And so intelligent is really good. It adds 3 to everything. So if your child gets the intelligent trait, they're starting off with 3 of all 5 of these, no matter where they ended up pursuing education. It starts them off really great here. And a genius starts off with all 5. So I'm seriously thinking we might go genius here. Fecund is always a good one too. It provides high fertility, so it almost guarantees that you're going to end up with a it almost guarantees that you're going to end up with a child because there's high fertility. And then the life expectancy, it adds 5 years. So it just gives you more time to go get things done. So that's a really good inheritable trait to look at. With Chada, I'm not sure what her name is, but with her being +5 on everything, having that trait, I don't like the paranoid situation here. Because that's a trait that could get passed down to your kids, because if she educates them, she could naturally train them. The other thing you can look at is if you click on them, you can see what they were educated in. So you can see that they're a learner, all right? She's a schemer, she's an intrigue. And so if you're going, okay, I know what I have and I want to be balanced out, what do I want, else do I want to add to it? So you got steward here. So if you want to try to provide an heir that's a really good steward, or you want to make sure that people in your realm, and as you educate other children, that you have a really good steward, she would have a really good education trait for stewarding others. So and then she's got the robust, which adds prowess, health bonus. So that's really good as well. I think we're just going to go with Adana here. I know that's a better trait. Lustful, higher fertility. I like that she's an intrigue though. Like I kind of need that because mine is low. We're just gonna go with this. Whatever. We'll see how it turns out. All right, so that's our marriage. So when we start the game, it'll let us know if that was accepted, which we already saw it was going to get accepted. So let's just let the game go for a couple days. It'll notify us. There it is. So we are now married to our spouse. So you can see she already added traits. So right here, my stewardship went up 3 because I naturally have a base of 5. I got 2 for being temperate, 3 for diligent, which we knew we were coming into this game at a 10, but then she gave me 3, okay? And if you switch over to your Councilor tab, and we'll get there in just a second, but just to show you at this moment, she's assisting the ruler. So in assisting the ruler, she's giving me all of these benefits. Now I can switch it over where she focuses on one thing, and it'll give me even more benefits. So right there, I switched to Manage Domain, where I get +7 on stewardship, and it gave me one more domain holding that I can have, which we're going to do right now. All right, so that's marriage. It's pretty basic. It's just, I wouldn't make it overly complicated. Basically, you just want a good spouse, and you want to avoid a terrible spouse. There was a lot of good options there. We could have gone in any direction. We just ended up choosing, what was her name again? Adana. We chose Adana, and so that's our spouse. We will end up getting concubines as well. So in a tribal government with a religion like ours, we're going to have a lot of wives, and we're probably going to have a lot of kids. And so that's something to remember, is that helps you in passing on your dynasty quickly, but also when you hand off the kingdom to the next generation, it gets split out quite a bit. So you just have to remember that, and then they can come after your titles because they have some sort of right to it. And so you just got to be aware of that when you move forward, how many you're going to have. All right, now let's go to the My Kingdom area. So just quick overview of some of the things. You've got no player error. We know that. If you see a notification and you're aware of it, you just aren't going to do anything with it, or there's nothing you can do about it right now, you can just right click and it'll disappear. We're going to choose a lifestyle here in just a moment. We know we're above our limit. We're going to address that in just a moment. We'll right click it. Now you've got your current situation tab. This will let you know just kind of the decisions you probably need to make or need to be aware of right now. So you have titles that can be created. You can take on a concubine, which is basically a second wife. You're not endorsed by your Hogan, which is your religious leader. You want to be endorsed by them. It helps you people to view you differently on a religious level and within your faith. Also, as you build temples, they may own the temple, and if they don't like you, you don't get the money and levies from that temple because they don't endorse you, so nobody on the faith level follows you, so they don't provide anything. So you want them to like you as much as possible, unless you set up your faith that it doesn't matter, which you can do when you reform it, and we'll deal with that at some point. You can declare wars. In a tribal government, it's much easier to declare wars. Generally, as you step into feudal, or if you play in India or some of the China areas, you're going to have to do this differently to declare wars. You're probably going to have a stake in a title because they're more peaceful in those areas. So you just have to do it differently. But for the sake of this game, you'll get really used to how do you declare wars. And then it's letting you know you have a powerful vassal that wants a council position. If a powerful vassal doesn't have a council position, they don't like you very much. So it's just letting you know, hey, that's out there. Then you've got these. This is just the overview of how much resource you have of things. So your monthly income, how much income you have, how much is coming in every month, prestige. The income is probably the most important. It buys everything. So it's going to help you build buildings. It's going to help you pay armies. It's going to help you purchase mercenaries. It's going to help you create titles. Like it does, most in the game happens because of income. Then you've got prestige. This is just how well you're known, and as you can see why you're getting the 1.7 that you're getting. You can see here we're under our concubine limit, and so it's taking away. I know it's only 0.2, which may not be a big deal, but when you're only getting 1.7, it kind of is a big deal. So how this works is if you're supposed to have concubines in most cultures and religions that have concubines, if you're a duke, you're supposed to have 1. If you're a king, you're supposed to have 2. And if you're an emperor, you're supposed to have 3. And so that's why you see the 3 slots here. We don't need to fill all 3 because we're not an emperor, we're a king, but we need to have 2. And if we go to emperor, we would want to think about a 3rd one. It's up to you if you want to add more. If you want to take that penalty and just not have more kids, that's up to you. The other thing is you see the level of fame here. So if you're disgraced, and that's the lowest, and a living legend, there's different elements that come with this. So you could have more levies, you can have more knights or champions. The higher you go up, it provides more as you go up. Also, when you get illustrious. So it gives you +2 knights. It gives you opinion. I think it also doesn't say it here. Get off there. It also allows you to attack an entire duchy versus one county. So like in this case, they only have one county, so I could just attack them. But once I hit illustrious, I could literally attack all of Manding at one time. Like I could go in here, I could declare war, and I could conquer the entire duchy without a penalty if I'm at illustrious. So that's where the levels of fame come into play. The same for piety. The levels of devotion give you certain benefits the higher you go up, and so you can see we're very pious, and the farther you go up, the better opinion people have of you. Okay, and it also allows you to reform your faith. You cannot reform the faith, and we have an unreformed faith. So like if you start off Catholic, it's already reformed. But if you have an unreformed faith like Buddhism, it allows you to reform your faith to what you want, but you have to be at a certain level of devotion to be able to do that. And I think in this case, you have to either be a paragon of virtue or a religious icon. Like you got to almost be at the top to be able to reform the faith. And then this is the renown for your dynasty or house, okay? And so as you progress down this, it gives you different benefits, okay? So if you get to insignificant, marrying into this dynasty gives you 100 prestige automatically. So people might want to be just jump in to get more prestige. Your children are born with more prestige. You get rulers get a maximum of +15 on a long reign option. So if you're going to be reigning over your territory for a longer time, you'll actually get more of a max benefit from it. And as you keep going up, you just get more and more. And I'll show you something else that plays into here in a second. This shows you your soldiers, so your levies, champions, just quick overview. And then this is your holdings, how many you have, how many you're allowed to have. So we have 9. The penalty here is severe. If you do not stay below your limit or at your limit, it will cancel all your buildings. So like the benefit that I get here, or do I have any buildings yet? I don't have any buildings yet. But it'll actually take away all your benefits, which it's very costly. So you have to stay under. Like they just won't let you. The game doesn't let you really go above, in this case, 6. And you can see I get 6 because of my stewardship number, and I'm a king, so I automatically get +3. All right, let's talk about the side tabs here. We've got our domain tab. It just shows you the rough overview of each one of your deals. You can click on these and see the same thing. It shows your vassals. This is a quick overview of their skills, like what they're good at, how they view you, why they view you that way. You can just see it'll highlight what they are over, how much income they're giving you, how many levies they're giving you. It shows all of that very quickly here. And right here, it does also show what government they have. As you progress forward, it'll be important to know, like, are all of my holdings, like, are they tribal? Are they republics? Are they feudal? And it lets you quickly get an overview of what kind of vassals you have. And then succession. Your powerful vassals, so powerful vassals are signified by this fist in their little picture tab here. And a powerful vassal is just a vassal that has the most money or the most levies. So that's what makes them powerful, is they have a lot of troops or they have a lot of money. In the succession, as you want to change your succession or maybe your gender laws, your powerful vassals are the ones voting. So they really are important to keep happy because they have the most troops. So if you don't keep them happy and they attack you, they have more troops, or they have more money so they can get mercenaries if they want to attack you. And if you want to change something, you need their vote. And so you want them to be happy to some level. The succession laws, some people find this frustrating in this game. I just find it that this is a normal part of this era of the world, and it's a reality that you're not going to be able to give all of your titles to one child. Like, they're going to get divvied out. It's just part of the game. I would say quit worrying about that part of the game. The game isn't to get the biggest nation or culture. The name of the game is to spread your dynasty out, right? Your house, to paint the map with your house not necessarily Ghana. Okay, so you just have to remember that. Next tab, we're going to skip these two and come back here in just a second. Actually, we're going to come back to court too. The Intrigue tab, it just shows you what schemes are you trying to do right now. So are you trying to befriend somebody? Are you trying to seduce somebody? Are you trying to kidnap somebody? Are you trying to murder someone? And then what secret schemes have you discovered? Oh, somebody's trying to kill my marshal. You found that out, and so you know that's a scheme. And then who do you have a hook on? Who has a hook on you? What secrets do you know? What secrets do you have? It lets you know all of that within this tab. Factions, they're just the vassals you have that want to overthrow you. It could be even just the populace, like the peasant population. If you're not keeping a specific holding happy and they want to overthrow you, that would be under the control. So like if their control is really low, they may want to overthrow you, and so you want to keep that control kind of high. And then decisions. You just have different decisions you can make. So like we can write our thoughts down because we have the trait journaler. And so we lose 2 diplomacy for a year, but we lose stress as well. And your stress meter is right here, how much stress you have. You can call a hunt, feast, go on a pilgrimage. You can do so many things. It's just the decision tab. You've also got this toggle outlier up here, and it just quickly shows if you pin a character. So like if I can pin a character right there. If I just want to keep tabs on somebody, remember where they're at, or remember, oh, I really like that skill that they have, and as soon as I can use that, I'm going to use it. You can pin them over here, so it's really easy to just find them again and go, what happened to them? And then if you're done with them and you want to unpin, you can just unpin it. This will show any armies that are raised. If you don't have armies raised, they won't be there. And then this is just your holdings, a quick overview. And if something is building in that holding, it'll actually be a timer meter that'll go along and then eventually end there. So it's just a quick overview to see things right there. I will say in the realm, you want to pay attention to this. Your tribal authority, you have to get to 4 to be able to move to the feudal government. Now, it takes a long time to do this, so I don't have enough prestige, but if I had enough prestige, I would choose this immediately. And right now, my vassals love me. They have a +10, but I can't even imprison anybody. If I switch to the second one, I can I can imprison characters, and then I can deal with people that aren't, I can deal with vassals that aren't tribal. And when I get to this one, this is the important one on a tribal level, is to get to 3 as quickly as you can, because the vassal opinion's less, but you can revoke titles and vassals can be retracted. That's important because you're going to have people, they may be of different faiths, different cultures, whatever. They may be people that have tried to kill you, but you can't take away their title because you don't have enough authority. So if you can get to that 3rd one and pass high tribal authority, it allows you to remove them from their position and put somebody in there that does like you. So if there's a powerful vassal, you may have to go through a war, but if there's a powerful vassal, you can insert the powerful vassal you want. So this is very important up here throughout the game. All right, now let's jump down here into this bottom left area. So you see here, this is our culture tab. You've got the Seninke culture. So it shows you, if it's in green, it's showing you that you already have this innovation. So we have the innovation to be able to go to development 20. And you can see our current capital is at a development 10. So if we didn't have that, we would start getting a more severe penalty to develop it, but we can go up to 20 without getting that penalty in development. We've got city plan. You can see the green ones here. What you want to see is this blue box around currency here. It's your current exposure. So you're exposed to another culture that is researching currency, and because we're close to that culture, we get the benefit of what their innovation is. We just naturally get a bump to our innovations as a result of what they're innovating, because we're neighbors. And so we should be talking, we should be interacting. And so we get this bump on currency. So it says in about 44 years, we're going to get this innovation of currency, which will give development growth of 10%. Then you can choose one. It's this tan beige box. It lets you know that your current cultural fascination. So we're saying barracks. I'm going to switch that to leisure. The reason I'm going to switch that to leisure is it gives me another domain limit of 1. And so, like, if I already had it, my domain limit would go to 7. And as you're adding buildings and things, it adds a lot. You know, it's going to add more money. It's going to add more troops. It's going to add more development. It's going to add more. So I think this is more critical at the beginning of the game. So that's why I'm going to do that. And so in 43 years, we could get this, which is going to take a full lifetime. Now, to go to the feudal government, you've got to go to early medieval age. You can see here, you can't actually go there until 900 AD. It's 867, so we have 33 years. And we have to discover 5 more innovations. And I've already shown you it's going to take 43. It's not going to take 33 years. It's going to take 43 years to get this one and 44, and 44 for that one. Now, if you double up and you do current exposure and cultural fascination, you can make it 23. But we're still going to have to get 3 more to move to this era. Okay, so it's going to take a while. Like, we're not going to get there by 900 AD. It's just not going to happen. Then you have your faith culture. So this tells you your tenets of your faith. So if you execute somebody, it earns you piety. It doesn't cost you piety. So in other cultures, like I'm sure in Catholicism, if you executed somebody, it would cost you religious money, piety. But we don't have to worry about that. And then we can also, as a result of human sacrifice, we can choose to raid for captives against our neighboring realms. So you can go raid and get money from them, and you can get captives, but we're choosing to raid for captives instead of money. Like, we're trying to go get captives. I'll show you that when we get into the military. And then it just shows you the different tenets. It shows you where your holy sites are. So when you click on this tab, your holy sites pop up. If you own 3 of them, so right now we only have 2 in our realms, but if you have 3, do I have? Let's look at this again. Well, you can see the blue lines here. We only have 1 right now in our realm, and those holy sites provide different things. I guess I could have gone in here. I have 2. I have one in Kukia and Akwar. Akwar gives me an extra knight and light cavalry toughness because we're really good at cavalry. It's really good. And then you get more piety per knight and prestige per knight because of this one. So really good. And that one's over here. So you can see that our faith has 2 of these holy sites. You personally have to own the domain of 3 of these to reform the faith. So whether, it could be any of these 3, but there's the 5. You have to have 3 to reform the faith. And you can see what you would get. So if you're like trying to decide which one should I go for next, you can look at the benefits of each one and decide which one you want to try to go end up conquering to own that title. It can show you if you're male dominated. You can switch all of this when you reform your faith. You can choose to switch as much as you want. There is penalties, like people may not want to go with you depending on how far you go with it, but you can reform the faith there. And then finally, you've got your dynasty. So it tells you who the dynasty head is. You can change your house name, which we're not going to, but I am going to change the motto. We're just going to do finding life in the desert as palm tree life. And so that's going to be our house motto. And then it'll let you know what level of splendor you're at. You can open your dynasty tree. So as you get more and more children, and you can look at your genealogy and just follow it all the way down if you want. It'll let you know that. You can even do this where it'll let you know, you can see like who the most diplomatic person in your entire dynasty is and where they're located. Like, you can look up things like that. I think that's a cool little element of the game. And then you can open up legacies. This is huge. So as you get more renown, which is this, as your score goes up on renown here, you will, if you're the dynasty head, whoever the dynasty head is, can choose one of these areas of renown. And so you can see that some of them are pretty good here. So you get automatically better knight effectiveness and better prowess when you are when you select this one. So you can just, there's all kinds of options. You have to start on the left one, and then you can work to the right. And you can kind of see where do you want to land. So if you do all of law, you can end up owning one more domain limit just because you've done this as a dynasty. You got home estates. Another critical part of my kingdom, all right, so the kingdom we're looking at here is the council. You want to have the best counselors that you can. So you can't always choose to appoint a Hogan. Sometimes they lock in, but your Hogan, the key skill here is going to be learning. And so we have the option to add a 15 here. So we're going to assign this 15 because she was only 8. He's 15. Then you got to remember, here's your powerful vassals. So you got to be careful moving them around. But sometimes they're better at something else. 11 is okay. 3 is terrible. And they're good at intrigue. They're okay at... So it just kind of depends here. So and then you can recruit to court. So if I decided I'm willing to not have a powerful vassal in my council because this person is just so much stronger, you can recruit them. You would pay 3 to him. He would join your court, and then you could insert him into this appoint a steward. That's up to you. Same here. It would be your decision. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swap my spy master and put him down here because 10 and 11 is better than the other. And then here, I obviously want something better. The other thing you can look at is, so he's 52, so he might be mad at me. So he's 19. I don't want to make him mad. He's going to be around for a while unless he just gets killed in battle. 35 is middle age, you never know. 22, pretty young. You want to keep them kind of happy. But here, 52, probably don't have to worry about him living more than about a decade. I can figure out how to keep him happy in other ways if I want to put this vassal there. And as you go, you remember, as they add more troops and more money, he may not be a strong vassal. You just have to keep an eye on it. But I'd rather have 12 than 6, so we're going to go there. All right, so, and if you want an easy way to add people to your court or to your counselor, the ability to have them be a counselor, they need to be in your court. So they have to be a vassal of yours or in your court to add them as a counselor. Now, you want to see, you need a physician. You will get sick. You will get wounded. You will have injuries. You want a physician to take care of that quickly. And normally what I do, depending on how they view me, okay, so he's negative on me, but I'm not too worried about it. His intrigue is low, so he's probably not going to do anything stupid to me. He's got high learning. When you're trying to get a physician, you want somebody with high learning, or they've already got a physician trait. And in our kingdom, you can see here, nobody has, like, it should be right here as far as physician traits, and nobody has one. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to add, right click, one more, appoint as court physician. It's going to cost us 10 ducats. He's going to get 15 opinion of us, and he's going to become our physician right there. Now here, you can choose to add different people into your court. See that? So here's a prowess. So he's high fighting ability. We'll probably want to add him. But one important thing that you want to do in here at all times is you want to marry these people off if you can. So look at this. So this is my courtier. She's here. If I do matrilineal, take away the inheritable. If I do matrilineal, it means that whoever she marries is jumping into her line, so they're going to follow her to your kingdom. And you do prowess, this guy, 17, for Sai, okay? If you click on him, he's a 14 prowess. I can choose that he's going to marry into her line and send the proposal. And when he accepts, he automatically comes to my court, and I get a knight with 14 prowess, which is pretty high. I get a knight to 14 prowess as a result of him coming in and marrying. So what would happen there is he would be my highest level of fighter as a knight. So we'll watch this happen here. I'll start the game. There it is. We accept. And here's Sai. He's my champion now. And all I had to do to get him, to get that level of a knight, all I had to do was marry off my courtier. That's all I had to do. It's amazing. So I can do it here too. Now, if you want specific inheritable traits, you can make sure that you're marrying them off to do that. So like if I have my Hogan, so he's 35. There's a fecund. If I have them marry, I have a chance to keep this trait within my kingdom because she's coming in to marry it. They have a high chance of children, right? He's 35, she's 25. This gives you a massive amount of fertility bonus. So when I do that, and I'm bringing in somebody else that has a education trait, she's good at philosophy or diplomacy as well. That's a lot of benefits, and so just do that, and they marry in. Now I'll do the rest of that in the background. You can marry them off however you want to, but we're going to choose the last one on me. I did forget to show you how to do your Councilor Tasks. So if you go into your Councilor tab here, you're going to see there's many options for your counselors to do. They're pretty self-explanatory. Just a quick overview. This is going to give you more piety for your religious leader. This is going to change the faith in a county, so it'll actually be blacked out if all your counties are your same religion, but you can just click on it. You can choose the county that needs to be worked on, and he'll start converting them into your faith. And this one is to fabricate a claim on a county. So if you need a casus belli and a reason to attack someone, it'll take time. It'll take a few years probably, unless you have really, really high learning. But you just click on a place that you want to do that to around you. It could also be in your own kingdom if you're wanting a claim on a specific place in your kingdom. And when it gets done, you can pay a fee for that fabrication. So you do need to let the monthly income build up if you want to do that fabrication, because when it comes due, it'll charge you at that moment. So you've got to be prepared for that. This one is just foreign affairs. So if you want other rulers around you to like you, you have that one. Or domestic, which is in your own kingdom. And because I know we're going to conquer a lot of the people around us, I don't care necessarily about the people around us. I care about the people inside. So I'm switching that. This is to integrate a title. So if you have another title, so if there's multiple different kingdoms that you have, or maybe you have an empire, but you want to add another kingdom into your empire, you can you can integrate a title into your current kingdom, and it'll add it in like a de jure title. And so basically you own it. It does take generally about a lifetime to do that. So it can be anywhere from 45 to 65 years to do that. So if you do want to do that, you have to plan on pretty much it lasting a lifetime to get that done. Then you have your steward, where he can collect taxes or increase development in a county, which we've said increasing development adds levies because it adds people. It adds money because there's more people. Or you can promote your culture. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to promote my culture. Generally, I would start with development. Like you almost want to start with development right away. The reason I'm changing to promote culture, and I'm going to start in this Decagelon. I probably destroyed that name. Decagelon. The reason I'm going to start there is because I've said I actually want this duchy to become my capital. Like we're going to actually move our kingdom to Mali at some point, and so I want to turn them from the Malinke culture into my culture of Soninke. And so it's going to take 6 years, so that's a long time because my steward isn't very good. The better the steward, the quicker those things happen. And then as I convert the culture here, then I'll start increasing the development and making it higher. Here, your marshal, this will give you more levies if you have it on this tab, and the higher the marshal characteristic, the more levies he provides. This one improves your commanders, and I actually generally start the game improving my commanders. And if you're in peacetime, you pretty much want to sit it on training your commanders. Now, your commanders can get hurt in this when you're doing this. They can get wounded and stuff because they're training. But it's well worth it, because as their prowess goes up and their martial skill goes up, it makes you an overall better army in champions. And so you want that to happen. But in war, you may want to add in the levies, so you got more levies to go into war with. And then your spy master, this one disrupts the schemes that are coming after you. And so if people are trying to scheme against you, he disrupts it, and he's very, very good. Like, this is, I mean, even says excellent. Like, that is, if you're getting up into the 20s on anything, you're doing really, really good. This is supports your scheme. So if you have a murder scheme or a befriend scheme or, you know, anything going on, any type of scheme where you're trying to sway somebody, he will help support you if you have that button selected. And then this, you can click this, and if you're just like, I wonder if anybody's got secrets out there, you can send him to different counties around you, and he can try to find secrets. And as you find secrets, you obviously can use them as hooks against people to pay you or to revoke titles or whatever you may want to do with it. But that's the benefit of having him go find secrets. And there are times where I'll go do that to try to remove somebody as a vassal. So that is kind of the basics of the Councilor Tasks. Something else that I wanted to make sure I showed you on this is how to grant vassals. So we've got our kingdom here. We see that we're 3 over our limit here. We need to grant 3 titles to someone else. And as you can see, like, this is its own duchy up here. Timbuktu is its own duchy. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give both of these to a vassal so that they can be the duke of that, and he can just have both of those. It's in the same location. You can give them to 2 individual people. If you do, especially in a tribal government, you need to understand they're probably going to fight each other to try to become the duke, and I'd rather just give one guy that I trust control of both than have 2 individuals that maybe I like, and then one of them, they're just not as powerful, and somebody else takes them over, and I end up with a vassal I don't really want. And so if you want to grant a title, you can click on the county or the barony that you're going to give away, and you can click grant to. So that's one way you can do it. You can also, if you see somebody, so we're going to go into our court, and I'm going to show you. These are our guests in our court. If you come down here, it says would make a good vassal because he's trusting, okay? So you can also just right-click on there and go to grant vassals. You can also left-click on him and then go into here and go right-click, grant titles, however you want to do that. What you do want to look at their characteristics, okay? So when you go into just grant a title, and you can, I already put this, I had that on there, but you can see. All right, like if you're looking, I really need a better counselor, you can sort it by that. If you want, I need somebody who can do a lot of learning, or I do need a really good steward, and this guy is pretty good, and if I put him in there, he would probably grow in this. The problem is he's deceitful, he's diligent, and he's brave, and so he's going to have no problem coming after me because he's ambitious. Like, he wants to come after me, he's diligent, he's going to be deceptive, and then he's brave enough to do it. And so honestly, I don't want him as my vassal. You want some of the things you want to look at are probably content. So like, you've got content, that's a pretty good one. Trusting, honest, like all of those things where and this guy really is good. So he's calm, he's trusting, and he's just. So if he steps outside and tries to do something unjust or deceitful or like in a rage or something, that's very much outside of his character. He would have to take on a lot of stress to come after me or even to go after somebody else in a dishonorable manner. And so that's why this guy's very good. And so we're going to give him those titles. And I'm going to show you how to do that from clicking on him. So let's click on him. Right click, we're going to grant titles. You can simply click the areas that you're going to give him, and you see how they change color? It would give it to him. Or you can come down here, and it's going to show it right there. Click that one, and then it highlights in that section in the list, and arrow on. It'll also highlight them when you just click on them. So I'm going to grant those titles to him, and they're his. And then finally, this one over here that I have, Kaniaga, it is in another duchy. Okay, so it's in this Kaniaga duchy, and you can see that I've already got one person who has 2 of these. Now I can give it to him and let him have a 3rd. I can give it to somebody else. The problem is that when the duchy title is created, so let's say this guy creates the duchy title, he's going to want whoever I put here as his vassal. And so you have to be careful with this. If you put a really good guy here, you know, you put somebody that you really like here, and then he creates that duchy title, he's going to want him to be his vassal as well. And so you probably will have to shift it from whoever's in Diara being your vassal to being Dagumbe's vassal. And then you'll lose them, and you'll lose whatever benefit they're bringing. And so just very easily, you can see here, he's only even allowed to have 2. So we'll let him worry about that. We'll let him worry about what he's going to do with his titles being over. See, now he's over. He can figure that out. All right, so that's how you would grant vassals. We are now in our 6 out of 6 holding limit, so we are perfectly good to go. Finally, we need to choose our lifestyle culture, or our lifestyle. So you've got all 5. We know that learning was the education that we chose, so we get a bonus of 40% if we go into this area, which we are going to do. But you can go into any of these, even if you chose education. Like, we could go into Marshall and do that if we wanted to. But when you go into it, when you choose something, when you choose it, this can only be changed every 5 years. So you are going to have to wait 5 years if you want to jump into Marshall or stewardship or wherever. You have to know it's going to take 5 years before I can do that. We are going to choose scholarship focus because of this development growth here, and 3 more learning, which helps us in our innovations, because we're going to get the health boost. We're going to get some of these other things. We already have a ton of piety based off who we are. And then you can break down, I would say just do some looking through. All of these are very beneficial, and I think every tree is beneficial depending on what you want to do. It really is what you want to do. This is a big deal in cultural fascination progress, so it's going to help us get that domain limit +1 even quicker. This keeps you healthier, and this just makes you a better theologian to reform your faith quicker. There's possibility where we could do all 3 of these. It is possible within our lifetime. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. All right, really quickly, lastly, you've got the 3 dots tab down here. So you can do the in-game menu there. You've got an encyclopedia to just quickly learn things up. And then you have the 3 dots tab here. This just takes you to your capital really quickly if you're trying to figure out where it is again. This shows you your lineage if you just want to see your dynasty and how it all went. If you're trying to look for a title, so it may be like, hey, you've been given... you've gotten a press claim on this title, and you're like, where's that at? You can just type it in here if you want to. Or you can find a character. So, and you can just, you can organize it by whatever. So if you're like, who's the highest prowess that's in my diplomatic range? It's actually the guy that we just married off. So we know within the diplomatic range around us, there is nobody better at battle than this guy. We have the best one. So that's the importance of marrying people off like that. Well, that's all I got for this episode. Next time we will jump into raiding and warfare, and we will actually start really playing the game. I'm going to do some, marrying off in the background and things like that. You do what you want to, but that gives you the rough idea of what's happening there. And we will jump into that next time. If you are willing, if you could throw up a like, if you could subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. See you next time.